units. And that's the measurement that we were really looking for. Chris Piechocki and the Piechocki Group in the last 12 months have closed 65 units. Megan Gullick, you have closed 47 list side units, and Erin, you and Russ have closed 31. Those are all super, super impressive numbers, in the context just of a normal year. And as we all know, this has been anything but a normal year. So congratulations to all three of you for some incredible, incredible numbers. And so we have limited time. I wanted to make sure this is a kind of a lunchtime context, and so I'll jump right into it. And we're just going to ask you guys a series of questions, and hope that you'll be able to share with us some of the things that you are doing, your wisdom, your insight, and your experience. So the first question, Megan, I'll send your way. You do, my understanding is that you do a business that is a blend between new construction, new development, and traditional resale. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Would you just tell us a bit about your business, and as by way of introduction?
Oh, you asked all these like loaded questions, by the way. That's like crazy homework.
Trying to be thought-provoking. Yeah.
If I had to describe what I do, I would say that I'm 90% new development and probably like 10% resale. I like put it out there at some point that I wanted to do new development. I work almost exclusively in Jersey City. Most of it's in the Heights. There's a lot of opportunity for new development in this area. So that's what I do.
Excellent. So in your neighborhood of choice, like your market where you focus, how are your conversations changing with your sellers at all based on the pricing trend that you're seeing? Like how are you changing those dialogues, if at all?
I think that the only thing that really needs to be, I think people need to have a little bit more understanding. For a while, it was like, if you don't get the right offer or an offer within 2 weeks, then you need to scale back your pricing. And then it became 30 days. And now it's like 30 showings, because it's really kind of where I can gauge something. But also, with that being said, I try to prep sellers to have, again, more understanding and some more patience, because I think what we've been shown is that we don't really know what's down the road. I mean, we never did, but we always thought maybe we could control some things. But now, like, we don't necessarily have control over things. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Great, excellent. So Chris, I'll go to you for just kind of the basic, your objection that you seem to be coming across the most in our current environment. What are sellers telling you right now that maybe is a typical objection, or that is a new one that you maybe hadn't seen pre-COVID?
Sure. So thanks for having me on this panel. I'm happy to, talk with everyone and share any information that I have. I think looking back over the past 3-4 months, everyone has had so much time to sit and think about what's important to them in their lives, what makes them happy, what they want, where they want to go. I think we've all been on a hamster wheel for a really long time. So jumping off and having no choice but to really kind of sit on the couch and spend some time really thinking about, what makes each of us happy has really been what has, pivoted our market and pushed it into a direction where people are actually going after what they want, because emotions are so high and people really just don't know what the future does hold. They just want to make themselves happy for today. Obviously, with the incredible interest rates, that helps motivate people more. But I think the objections that I received most of all are people that are just wondering really what's happening. I'm not really sure. Is it the right time? Is it not the right time? I know this is where I really love to go, but I don't know if I can get there. Many people think that the market really isn't strong. But when, you know, we take some time to educate them and really kind of explain and then use statistics and data and discuss, you know, the economy and what direction we think it's going in and why it's going there. I think that it's much easier to kind of push them over the edge. So I think in essence, really trying to take control of the people. Like, people want to look at us as professionals and they want to feel comfortable and they want to feel like we know what's happening. And when you show them that you have all of this wealth of information that you can help them and get them there, they kind of sit back and they say, okay, you know, you control me, you tell me what I need to do, what I should do. And I think once you get them where you need to be, where they need to be, and you gain that trust, I think anything's possible from there.
So are your sellers giving you is there a pattern in any of your presentations lately where there has been a consistent objection that has shown up recently? Is it the same as it always has been?
It's mostly a concern about what's happening, and is it busy, and you know, is it possible for me to get where I need to be, and make the move, and are there people looking at homes, and you know, and my response is, you know, the market's totally insane. I've never seen it any busier. You know, people that are moving out of Hudson County, for everyone that moves out, there's someone moving from an area I think that's even more busy, whether it be Manhattan or Brooklyn or Queens. And, you know, the people that I see moving to Bayonne, for example, are people that, you know, were from Brooklyn or from Manhattan and spent 3 months sitting on the 40th floor in a, you know, 400 square foot studio, and, you know, had to wait 2 hours to get down the elevator, and really said, you know what, I need to move. I'm not ready to go to the suburbs, but I'll go somewhere halfway in between where it's a little bit of an urban feel, a little bit of a suburb feel, and at least I'll be close enough with more space and fresh air if I need to get back to Manhattan or if I need to get back to Brooklyn for work once things open back up.
Thanks, Chris. Erin, same question to you. Objections that you've been coming across recently, have they changed? How are you handling your seller presentation objections?
I definitely agree with what Chris was just saying, you know, just about whether or not, can they make it happen? Can they move? But the bigger piece of it is, the biggest question that I always get is, you know, what am I going to get? What price am I going to get for my property right now? Are we in a good market? I'm seeing a downtrend in condo sales for sure. They're the toughest. If you have a single family, multifamily with backyard, any type of space, those are selling. But it all comes down to price. What can I get for my property? And we're having some real pricing conversations, because if you go to the market overpriced, and they still kind of have this sense that, you know, they want to get what we got last year in 2019, then those, you know, we're going to probably do some price reductions. If we underprice it strategically, that's when we're getting the bidding wars in the marketplace. I mean, you know, I've had multiple bidding wars on just our listings, and then we've helped buyers that were in bidding wars, and we've lost and we've won a couple of them. So, I mean, it is a really good, generally, it's actually a really good market right now to sell, because you can probably get what you want. But I am seeing a downsize in condos. I don't know, Megan, I know you do a lot of condo business as well. Are you seeing that same?
Am I seeing? It depends on the type of building, right? If it's like you said, if it has outdoor space, separate entrance, parking, people just, like, you know, they're pickier now than they were previously. So yeah, space is really important. I would say the ones that I'm seeing struggle are the ones that have a smaller living space, for sure. Even if we have been able to, you know, provide outdoor space or parking.
Definitely.
Excellent. So thank you, Erin. That's great. Has your source of leads changed at all, or is that the same as it has been as well, Erin?
No, it's pretty much been the same. I mean, we're really heavy focused on our personal circle, and then also, you know, expireds and for sale by owners. So.
So we've been charting an uptick in the numbers of expireds. Have you seen that there are more opportunities for you in the last few weeks on that side?
Yes and no. I mean, you know, we're like I said, we're really heavily focused on our personal circle this year, and that's where the majority of our phone calls are coming from, and also our past clients that are actually moving from Jersey City out to the burbs. So, but for what Chris was saying, for everyone that's moving out of Jersey City and moving to, you know, Essex County or Bergen County right now, we're getting the same people from Brooklyn and Queens that have also been in the buildings. And so it's kind of like a little wave, you know?
Okay. Well, so that ties into, you know, we can kind of just skip to one of the questions that goes right at that conversation, which is this dynamic of people moving from Jersey City into the surrounding exurbs and suburbs. It sounds like there is almost like a replacement wave, as you're saying, Erin, coming in from the even more densely populated urban areas to take on the properties in Jersey City and Bayonne. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yep, definitely. I mean, we have our referral agents out in Essex and Bergen County, and we've been doing a lot of referrals out there the last few months.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
More so than ever.
And so Megan, are you adapting your business model at all to kind of take to recognize or to maybe capitalize on that kind of a dynamic? What are you seeing in your business?
I'm seeing that I am so busy with Jersey City that there's really no reason for me to chase the suburbs. I don't know, maybe that sounds lazy, but I also really like being hyper local. So, and I can appreciate the people who want to like go out there and, you know, learn about other counties, but I feel like there's enough business. I feel like there's always been enough business in this area that I'm not changing my strategy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you finding that the population of the people who are buying the condos, are you seeing a difference in the buying population?
No, we've always had kind of the same, like the hill or the Heights is like the obvious move up the hill from like downtown or Hoboken, or the obvious move, like if you're cool, you would live here kind of thing. That's Jersey City in general. So, I've often seen people moving from, you know, Brooklyn and Astoria and Manhattan to over here. 'Cause if you ask them, like Chris said, the 40-story building where they're living in a 400 square foot apartment over here feels like kind of insane. Like, what can you get in Astoria for like $600,000 to $700,000 or Park Slope?
Right.
So no, I think they're still the same. It's the same demographic, except that we've lost some of the people who wanted like a small place as a pied-à-terre for like to getting into Manhattan. I think there's a hold on that right now.
Excellent. Thanks, Megan. That's great. So in terms of that opportunity, just opportunities in general, we've experienced a kind of a compressed spring market, which has gone through this current moment. We don't know what's going to happen in September and October. We have an election that's coming. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty. Where do you guys see the greatest opportunity as independent business owners, as real estate professionals? Where are you looking in terms of the next quarter through the end of 2020 in terms of what your greatest focus is? And I'll start with you, Chris, on that subject. What do you see for the Piechocki group?
Sure. I mean, you know, we're just continuing to do our thing. We're super busy. Bayonne is really hot right now. I don't really see any signs of slowdown. I mean, I have a lot of exciting listings coming in, you know, in September. I'm not really too concerned about it. I am thinking about the election, and it's part of my my script. You know, when I speak to my clients and they're not sure when to sell, and I'm going to get back to your other question, but you know, just to help everybody with a script, I would say, You know, we know what's happening right now. We don't know what's going to happen in the fall. You know, interest rates are historically low at around 3%. There's only one way for them to go up. When the rates go up, the prices are going to have to come down eventually. We have about 32% unemployment right now because of COVID. We have about 10% of people who haven't made mortgage payments in the United States. You know, these are all signs for, you know, an economical change. So I try to tell people that I believe after the election that the interest rates will probably wind up, you know, going up and things are you know, are going to change. But wait, what was the question?
Where you see the great opportunity, right?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, throughout COVID, I mean, I spent the first month of COVID, and you know this, Erin, sitting in my basement, depressed, and didn't want to even, you know, talk about real estate, or didn't want to push forward. You know, it was just a scary time. I mean, it's something that I love. It's something that gives me adrenaline and passion. And I was really worried that my business was going to completely crumble. But then, you know, I started to nurture my database, and I chose like my top 50 to 75, you know, clients that have always sent me business over time. And I gave them information, and I educated them, and I nurtured them. And, you know, what I'm seeing is that now I'm actually, I'm benefiting from the fruits of the time that I spent, because now they're, you know, they're relying on me and they're sending me these referrals. So I think that, you know, it's going to be okay. And I think that a lot of other agents that, you know, might be, you know, just got their license to help their aunts and their uncles and their cousins. And I think now a lot of the clients, the people that are going to need our services and need our help, are going to go towards the people that they know are you know, are in the market and are educated and can really kind of, you know, get the job done. Okay. You know, I'm just going to continue to answer your question. I'm just going to continue nurturing, you know, my database and making sure that I'm helping people, and I know that I need to give before I get, and spending a lot of time, you know, just helping my clients that, you know, that send me business.
Excellent. So sphere of influence, relationship side.
Yes.
And just to kind of touch upon the Chris Piechocki, you know, COVID in his basement, in after, like, I think the second or third of our Zoom calls, getting to know one another, and seeing Chris in his basement, I said to him, Chris, you know, the smoke alarm has been going off for like the last 2 calls. Like, his battery was low, and it was just in the background going like, chirp, chirp. And he
I was just so depressed, I couldn't even get it. I couldn't even go to 7-Eleven to get a battery, because you couldn't leave the house.
Completely oblivious to the fact that his smoke detector needed a battery changed. So Erin, same question to you. You know, what is the greatest opportunity that you're seeing for you and Russ in your business for Q2, 3, and 4?
I mean, we're just going to keep trucking along, doing the same thing, and our mindset hasn't really changed. I think we were opposite. We were still forging forward really hard in March. Mm-hmm. We kind of fell back a little bit in April. I looked at the trends of, you know, our business, but we picked right back up in June. And, you know, for a lot of people that don't know, our business has not slowed down considering everything. And we've had an enormous amount of loss as well. And, you know, we've just been getting busier and busier based on, you know, our database, just nurturing our database and providing information for them. And it's just, we're going to keep doing Hudson County. I mean, we haven't really gone out to the burbs. We're referring the business out there to our partnering agents, which we have some really great relationships with. Because I agree with Megan, there's just so much happening here locally that it keeps us so busy that we just really don't have time to go out there. And I think people want people who really know the area really, really well to be able to speak to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Megan, same question. So opportunity for you in the next 6 months, 5 months.
I feel like I've been scaling up. I've been starting to do some larger buildings. I'm kind of prepping to do more like multi-unit condos. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really where things are going. I mean, it's always been part of the plan. So I don't think anything has really changed either. Again, fell off the rails for a month that was scary, but you know, and again, yeah, nothing is, aside from that, it's always acting as if. And again, same thing, like there was one couple of weeks where nobody was calling, which was kind of scary, but then people started calling for advice again, and then the things started picking back up again. And it was, and just like Erin says, you kind of just gotta keep giving the advice and being a consultant, and, you know, like letting them, it's always an ongoing dialogue, I think, that you have to have with your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. So the theme that I'm hearing emerging from all three of you is that, you know, if we just do our jobs and we are consistent about the things that are the fundamentals, that in fact we don't really necessarily need to do a whole lot more than that. It's really just being there for our clients, communicating the market data, and continuing to nurture person-to-person relationships on your sphere of influence side. That's going to assure that you continue to grow in no matter what market you find yourself in.
Yep, you just can't be lazy.
Right. do your job. There you go.
Every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of market data, right? So what are specifically are you communicating into your spheres of influence, to your relationships, to convey what's happening on the ground? Like, what are the metrics specifically that you find yourself going back to explain and to interpret the market for your sellers specifically? And I'll toss that out to Erin first, and then
I mean, it really obviously depends on the area, the property that they have, and, you know, and looking and, you know, studying the market stats and sharing it with them. I mean, you know, every area is different. You know, we service everywhere from North Bergen all the way to Bayonne. So, you know, you have to study all of that, all the market data, what's sold, what's under contract, you know, most recent sales. I mean, we've been, you know, typically we'll go back an entire year, but with COVID, that's kind of changed. You know, we're tightening up what we're looking at. We also want to look at active. Active has never been more important when you're sharing data information, because you want to look at what's on the market right now and how many days on market everything is. So days on market is important. And you know, otherwise, you know, it's really finding out and asking the heart, you know, the questions, what is it that they want? What are they looking for? You know, what's important to them, and try to service them in that way.
And then how do you connect that to the actual data? Like what graph are you showing them? I heard you say days on market. And so that's like, that obviously that's a key metric. Is there anything else that you sort of lean back on in terms of a measurement of market activity?
I mean, it's really active, sold, and days on market is the most important information right now. I mean, that's what they want to know, because whatever's under contract, I don't know what it's under contract for. You know, I have no idea if it's over or under. So that's what we're sharing with them. As far as graphs go, I mean, we pull all of our information directly through the MLS for the most part. As we, you know, try to look at data through other websites to see what has sold maybe on its own that's not in the MLS, tax records, you know, beyond that, that's it.
Okay. Chris, how about you guys? When you're on a listing presentation, what data are you bringing with you? What do you use to interpret and to paint the picture of the market as it is, as you're having that pricing conversation with the seller?
Definitely days on market, you know, and I try to get clients excited about, you know, any homes that maybe I have recently sold that's gone over asking, especially if it's drastic. You know, I try to start off with explaining to them a little bit about statistics, numbers, you know, what's happening, how many properties are under contract in the town, how much that's, you know, how many properties were under contract, you know, in April, you know, during COVID. And I start out talking a little bit about, you know, logically about numbers. And then I try to, you know, evoke emotion, you know, and say to them, you know, listen, if we had 25 showings on your property, just like Sally did down the street, and we got 5 offers, and, you know, multiple offers over asking price, think about what you can buy and, you know, how happy your family would be wherever you want to go. Like, where would you want to go? And I try to get into that discussion. So for me in my business, turning logic into emotion is huge. I do that with all of my clients. So just talking about the numbers sometimes doesn't make sense. But when you can throw the emotional part into it, it changes the whole conversation. You know, I have a woman who I listed her house today. Or I'm listing it today. It's a 2-family. She said, I need to wait till after January to list the house. This conversation was yesterday morning. You know, I was explaining to the statistics to her. And I said, listen, I don't know what's going to happen in December, and I don't know what's going to happen in January, but I can tell you the market is amazing right now. Like, why don't you have a conversation with your accountant and see what type of hit you would take? And, you know, you would know that you would absolutely positively, you know, get that check, because she lives in Florida. You'd have that check sent down to Florida, and you know, you wouldn't have to worry what's going to happen in the future. And she called me this morning, and we're listing the property like today and tomorrow. So it's just really, you know, striking that emotion.
Excellent. Megan, same question. Data. Are you a data person? How do you use the data in your conversations with both? I guess with because and specifically, I would imagine in new development that is a big piece of the conversation there. What is unique to that situation, and how are you using those numbers?
Well, with condos in this area, it's more about like price per square foot, and like, I honestly, when I go to a listing appointment, I don't bring, it sounds really weird, but I don't bring anything with me, because I figure it's kind of an interview, like for both sides. Like, do I want to work with you? Do you want to work with me? And I'll get a feel for the property, or for like whether or not we even mesh. And then I'll go back and start looking through things like, you know, days on market, price per square foot, like, you know, bedroom and bath count, and, you know, all the other bells and whistles. But yeah, for a listing appointment, I want to see if we even like each other first, because I'm gonna have to work with them, right? So, right. You know, we have to have, like, because I've had people like they're very respectful at first, or they're not. So, you know, life's too short to work with people that are not respectful. So
amen to that.
And no data.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and clearly when we are doing our jobs and we are lead generating in the way that we should be, as you three are, obviously you get the liberty, right, to choose the people that you want to work with. And so that's an important thing just to point out to everybody, I think, on the call, is that, you know, one of the greatest freedoms in our business that these three represent is achieved through the discipline of showing up every day and maintaining those relationships, growing them, nurturing them, and providing value on a daily basis to everyone in your world. That's how you eventually arrive at the sort of the mythological freedom that most people are searching for when they get into real estate. But that equation of discipline equals freedom is something that all three of you have touched upon just in the last few minutes. So that's pretty amazing. Congratulations. Okay, well, so to go a little bit on the lighter side, we talked a lot about, you know, strategy and you know, conversations, overcoming objections, pricing. Can you share a listing presentation that may not have gone exactly as you had planned, and then what did you learn from that experience? Let's go there, Erin, first. You're smiling, so I think you got a good story.
I mean, I think we've all had listing appointments that have not gone the way that we wanted them to go, or they went really strange. I mean, the one that really comes to mind was I was at a listing presentation with a lady, and in Bayonne actually, and she started telling me that she wasn't going to sell to anybody that had animals. And I was like, well, you know, why do you care that somebody has an animal? And she starts going on and on and on about how they're dirty varmints and they should all die. And I just said, you know, I just don't, this isn't going to work. To Megan's point, I can't help you. And I got up and I left, and that was that. And so I walked away from it. I mean, I don't even know how we would have worked together, period. So,
And specifically for you, Erin, you know, for those of you who may or may not know, Erin's passion outside of real estate is animals, right? And that you're the thing that you are dedicated to outside of real estate, and obviously your family is, you know, kind of rescue dogs in particular, right?
yep. So
Yeah.
that was not going to be a good relationship.
Not a good match. Not a good match.
That's just one of my stories.
Yeah. How about you, Megan?
Oh, that's the question that puts me on the spot. I can't actually say that I remember any appointments that went really bad. I do remember losing a listing though, actually to Erin. They interviewed 3 of us, and I always kind of asked the question like, oh, who else you talking to? And then COVID hit. They called me and they were like, oh, we want to list with you. And we were so excited. And I was like, okay, great. And then COVID hit. And then I was like, I thought to myself, like, it's not the right time to call them and like set it up. We were just on the verge. And then like 2 weeks later or something, it was this beautiful listing that was listed with you guys. And I was like, it basically, what it taught me was that like, even in times like that, you still have to keep like communicating with people, because if they don't think that you're communicating with them, they will go to somebody else.
Listen, I just lost the listening to you too, honey. I know, yeah. You just went live on it last week, so it happens. But hey, there's enough business for all of us.
Exactly.
And we get along, Megan and I, we work together and Russ all the time. So congratulations. We'll both get more, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A mindset of abundance. It's a good thing. What about you, Chris?
My story also has to do with dirty animals, but different types of dirty animals. So I was working with this woman who lived in Florida, and the only time that she can do the appointment to meet for me to view her 2-family home in Bayonne was at 10 o'clock at night, because she was just getting in from JFK. And it turns out she was an hour late, so I waited outside the house. It was 11 o'clock at night. My wife was like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm at a listing appointment." So she walked me through the house, and I walked through the house, and one of the apartments was in really good shape, and the other apartment was just left completely disgusting. I mean, like ketchup all over the kitchen, and just flies, and the windows were open, and there was like crap all over the rug. And after I left that night with her, I told her I would put together a report and get back to her. And my coach had told me on my social networking, anything that I do, it should be like 75% business and 25% personal. But you should show the grit of the business as well, and not just the glory and the luxury of it. There's not too much luxury in Bayonne, but you know what I mean. So basically, I made a post, and I just said, viewed this home last night, and look how this dirty animal left this apartment. You know, it was disgusting. It really smelled, or whatever, just because I thought that was the right direction to go in with the post at that time. And it turns out she knew somebody that knew me that saw my page, and her brother was actually the dirty animal. So I didn't get the listing. And I really regretted it. She actually listed it with someone else. She said, "I'm so disappointed that you did that. Please remove it right now." And I said, "That was a horrible idea, and I'll never ever do anything like that again." So.
Oh yes, beware the social medias. Yeah.
I love that you shared that with us. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
This is awesome.
All dirty animals, right?
That's hysterical.
Well, thank you. I love everything that you guys have shared with us. We're about, we have about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to give the people who are tuned in the opportunity to open up their mics and ask you guys any questions. A little short Q&A. So everybody who's here in the Zoom room, you've got Megan Gullick, Erin Downs, and Chris Piechocki, who are here to answer a question or two. So feel free to pose a question, open up your mics, and have at it.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Christina.
My question is, how did you get your first listing?
Who wants to take that one?
I could take it. Really, real estate is about people knowing, liking, and trusting you. And if you have all of those three things, then it's much easier to get the business. But, you know, I tell people all the time, like, you can't be a part-time like agent. It has to be a language that you speak all the time, no matter who you're around, so people know that you're the go-to person. And it's, again, educating the people around you and letting them know that you have a wealth of information, and eventually getting them to be reliant on you, to want to come to you to help them. Personally, I got my first listing through working in a restaurant. You know, it was, someone mentioned it. I said I had my license, so I gave them the check, and I also slipped them the old business card, and they called me, and I got my first listing. So.
I got my first listing cold calling. I started FSBO. I was calling for sale by owners. I got this one guy, met him at a diner in Journal Square, that SIP diner, sat there, and he told me he had 3 more. So I took 4 listings at that table, and I was sweating bullets. I had no idea what I was doing. And one of the condos was in Journal Square, and I had like 100 people for the open house, and I just stood at the door and let people in and had multiple offers. And then I quit my real job and went full-time into real estate after that. True story.
Love it.
Thanks.
Megan, how about yours? What was your first listing? Do you remember?
Yeah, my husband made me list his condo because he was done renting it, and I really didn't want to, because I didn't want to take him on as a client, because if I fired him or he fired me, it was going to be very awkward. But the other way I got listings initially was I paid for the Zillow leads, and then I answered every single call that came in, and I started off listing a rental, and when they were ready to sell, I sold that, and you know, that's pretty much it. Kept meeting people.
Thank you.
Excellent. Who else has a question, observation, something you'd love to hear from this panel of listing titans? Titans listings. Yes, Lisa, Eli, go ahead.
As far as touching your past clients, the people that want to list their property in Hudson County and perhaps move out to the suburbs, are you guys getting the objection where once they sell, they're not sure where they can buy in the suburbs because inventory seems to be pretty tight and competitive in general right now?
Yeah, I mean, that discussion comes up. I mean, sorry, Meg. I basically tell them, you know, the market's really tough and competitive wherever you're going. So you need, if you should sell now, because you're really going to make a huge profit. You know, obviously as long as they have enough equity, but I always tell them to make sure that they have a plan in between, whether it be, you know, staying with a family member or renting something short-term or something like that, because I do tell them it's going to be very challenging to find something in the area that you're going. And it kind of takes out the craziness of the equation, trying to, you know, coordinate closings and all that stuff as well.
So that, make sure you have a place to go. You have a family member, can you do a short-term Airbnb, something like that? And they always say yes. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you, Li. Anyone else have a question that they'd like to get answered by the pros?
I have one. Hi guys, this is Vendula. Thank you so much, all 3 of you. This question is mostly for Megan. You mentioned something at the beginning that right now the market, that you feel like 30 showings are waiting a little bit longer on price reduction, that it's okay. Can you please expand on it?
That's pretty much, I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think it really used to be like in 2016, things were super crazy and competitive, and then they kind of softened a little bit. So back then it was like, I mean, I always have sellers who want to push their pricing, you know, like, and my personal theory is that, like, if I price something under and then it goes up, there's always that question of, did we price it well enough in the beginning? So often I'll tell my sellers, like, we can push your pricing, but at the end, like, you're going to have feedback on this that shows where you're really at in the market. And then they have to decide, like, what's more important to them. And when it's like, when it was during COVID, for instance, well, it's still during COVID, but when it was like, you know, where things were kind of funky and people were like, should I lower the price? Should I lower the price? It's like, well, let's wait until we get like X amount of showings, and let's make sure that we have the right feedback from people, because maybe people just can't come out right now, right? Like maybe they just are too freaked out. So once I have enough like feedback from people, then we can see where we really are in the market and whether or not we need to lower the prices. Also, with that being said, sometimes I have investors that like have like, they have something that they have to hit, right? It's not about, for me, it's not like, oh, I think we should just keep this price like we start off at a certain price, like, and it's aggressive like a year ago, but now we have to like keep things at a certain price, because then they're, anyways, 30 showings and then you're good.
Yeah, I like your thinking, because I think that the feedback is very important too. So I would prefer have more showings and feedback and kind of seeing it than going through the like 2 weeks and 10 showings. Think about that, you know, that's kind of that.
Well, then again, though, also the other thing to think about is if you're priced way too high and you don't get any showings, that's another time to say to like somebody like, hey, listen, we are not getting the showings because this is what's competitive. But I sometimes do let their like the sellers dictate where they want to be in the market, and then you put in the effort, give them the feedback, and get real.
Make adjustments. Yeah. Excellent. Good question, Vendula. Anybody else? We have 3 minutes remaining.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
What are the things in the beginning of your careers that you started doing that kind of set you to the path of success that you're at now?
That's a big question. Who wants to take that?
Answer every single phone call. Answer your phone. Seriously, just answer your phone. Like, that is huge. And know your SHIT. Like, whatever area you're working in, go to the MLS like every single day. Know what's being, just know it. Just know it. And then if you don't know it, then say, that's a good question. I'll find out. And then find out.
I think it's interesting on this panel because the three of us are so different. Like, right? I mean, we are, because I mean, Megan, you specialize in development. Chris really works his sphere and has that database. And me, when I started, I didn't have a database. So I role played and prospected like crazy. I mean, it was up until probably April, May this year, where I prospected every day, 3 hours a day. And that, you know, built my database, and me and Russ did that. You know, we prospected, and, you know, but Chris, on the other hand, he's the king of Bayonne. You know, everybody, who doesn't know Chris Piechocki, right? I mean, so for me, it was all about prospecting, role playing, and I got into coaching right away. I've never stopped coaching. I've had a coach for 6 years now.
Wow, okay.
I would say getting involved in different groups and having real meaningful conversations every day about real estate, and asking questions to other agents, maybe choosing an area that you feel like you want to specialize in, you know, doing open houses every weekend. You know, if you want to start farming, whether it be through cold calling or sending mail outs, like, start small. You can't, like, you know, choose, you know, a whole town, but choose an area that you want to start to specialize in, or maybe like a, you know, like a smaller condo development, townhouse development, or, you know, an area where you think that you can definitely tap into and meet people and join different groups within that, you know, community, and turn your social networking, all of your social networking, into, you know, something exciting that people want to pay attention, and give them meaningful information through there. Because you know, it's really about giving to people before you wind up getting anything back in every way. So, you know, just that's my suggestion.
Thank
Do
you.
open houses. You got to do open houses. They're boring sometimes, and you might only get one person coming through, but seriously, you never know where that person is going to take you. You just never know.
The other thing that I want to add to that is follow up with people.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you have an open house and you have a sign-in sheet and you have 7 people sign in, follow up with them religiously. Build your database with those people. Because I will tell you, there's a lot of times you'll call people and they won't answer the phone and they don't text you back. And then all of a sudden they just appear. And they're like, hey, Erin, we're thinking about buying or selling or looking for an investment. I'm sorry, I saw your text. Sorry, I didn't get back to you. Never stop reaching out unless somebody tells you, please don't contact me anymore. Seriously.
Yeah.
Even if they stop answering your calls?
It doesn't matter. I have so many, Russ and I have so many people in our database, and we call, text everybody. Do you know how many COVID like text messages we sent? Thousands probably. Maybe got, half in return. Some people didn't even say, oh, wishing you well, hope you're healthy too. So, but it doesn't matter because we keep trying, we keep pushing and forging forward, keep reaching out to people until they tell you, stop calling me. And I've had people who have said that. Can you stop contacting me? Okay, no problem. And I just take them out of my database.
Because just because somebody doesn't respond is not a no. It's just not now, right? I don't have a need right now.
And at the end of the day, they want to work with someone that did call them a lot and the people that were persistent and the people that didn't stop. And when they do need you, because people can be selfish, they will eventually call you and get back to you. But if there is no response, you can follow up with another creative message and say, hey, I'm really sorry to bother you again, but did you get my last 3 messages? I'm just checking, my phone's not acting right or whatever. And once they respond, I mean, you can maybe start a conversation then, but definitely never give up.
Yep. Awesome. Well, it is 2 minutes after the hour, and I want to respect everybody's time. And I want to start by saying a particular thank you to Megan Gullick with Sawyer Smith for having dropped in and been a celebrity guest with us on this panel. Really appreciate the cross brokerage collaboration. Yesterday we had Sunil Chilar with Exit Realty. So we're really, just knitting the community together, just bringing, doesn't matter what company you work with, we're all real estate professionals and independent business owners. So Megan, I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
And Chris and Erin, thank you both for your time and your experience, your wisdom, and we will do this again sometime real soon. I appreciate everybody who showed up for the call despite the challenges with technology, which we will work out next time. And I want to wish you guys a very happy rest of your Thursday, and we will see you around Jersey City. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris, Erin, and Megan. Thank you so